And gentlemen, good people of YouTube, it is me, Johnny, back at it again with another video. And I know it's been a while since I've actually put out a full-length video, but I am back today. And what I want to talk about on today's episode is who I believe are the undisputed or could be disputed GOATs of mixed martial arts in every weight class for both men and women. Now, for people who has maybe saw a video here on YouTube or has listened to the podcast, which the link for that will be down in the show notes, but knows that I'm a huge fan of mixed martial arts. I mean, I've been a fan since I was a kid. I mean, from watching, videos and movies back in the day, like Enter the Dragon and even, Pride when it was around, USC when it came up, and then eventually even animes like Dragon Ball Z, like the shirt I'm wearing right now, inspired me to actually get into the sport. So today I want to break that down and give my opinion on who I believe that is. But before I get started, if you're liking the content you're listening to here, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, hit that notification bell anytime a new video comes out, so that way you'll be alerted. But let me go ahead and get right into it. And ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and give my disclaimer off the top. Name butchering will be happening in the making of this video. So I apologize to the many men and women whose names I am about to butcher. But since I am a gentleman, let me start with the strawweight division and who I believe the GOAT is there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, is Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Now, Joanna, she had the longest reign at number one and the longest win streak for the division. As time goes on and the division continues to age, since the division is relatively new, this could change. But as of this exact moment, I have Joanna at number one. I mean, she is one heck of a fighter. I will say this, I do like the current UFC champion, Zhang Willy. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But if not, y'all already heard the disclaimer at the top. Even though she's going to have to get a pretty good streak going to actually have a shot. Now, let's go to the flyweight division, and Valentina Shevchenko is it. There's nothing more to say about it other than if Amanda Nunes didn't exist, she could be argued as the greatest woman fighter ever. Let's move to the featherweight division for women. So here's the thing. I know this division has been done away with, of course, in the UFC now for a little bit, but when talking about the greatest ever for a division that really only seen two legit GOATs in it, I know this might be unpopular to say, but I believe Amanda Nunes, who is the GOAT of all women fighters in my opinion, is the best that division has seen. Yes, I know Chris Cyborg has been in the division longer than Amanda has, and she came over to the UFC, she won the belt there, but she held that title for like 2 seconds before Amanda came in and smashed her. I mean, Chris, again, has done more in the division, but I'm sorry, I can't give you the GOAT of the division and you come in and you get smashed the way she did. I know that Cyborg, obviously has gone back to Bellator and is the champion there, but it just seems to me that she's only good at fighting against opponents that aren't top level. So, yep, I'm going to give it to Amanda in this division. Speaking of Amanda, and of course for the bantamweight division, which is next, I mean, look, it's Amanda Nunes. It's not close, to be honest with you. I mean, she's the greatest woman fighter to ever do it. I know that she is retired now and the belt is vacant, so we'll see which woman grabs on top and gets it. I think the favorite is the woman who actually beat Amanda and then obviously lost her the next fight, in Juliana Pena. But with that said, Amanda, I think, is going to be the GOAT for a long time unless Juliana puts together an incredible, I mean, just unworldly type of win streak to actually top Amanda. Let's switch over to the men's side of the bracket. Let's go to the featherweight division. And just like the bantamweight division for women, not going to have to spend a lot of time here because I think this is unarguable that Demetrius Johnson being the GOAT here, he has the longest reigning title holding and title defense of all time and the longest win streak in the division's history. It's hard to argue with that. Moving over to the bantamweight division. Now, this division has had a lot of great fighters in it, which makes it kind of tough to pick who the greatest is. I mean, for me, it boiled down to two, which I thought was pretty clear. You have Dominique Cruz and TJ Dillashaw, who are my two, with Petr Yan and then Henry Cejudo, getting an honorable mention. With that being said, I went with Dominic Cruz for two reasons. One, I believe he has been more dominant for a longer period of time, and I believe, was probably the most well-rounded fighter that the division has actually had. And I mean, you could argue that others were just as well-rounded, and that's fine. But to me, Dominic Cruz has that. The other thing is, again, picking between him and TJ. I mean, he didn't fail a drug test like TJ. So, easy tiebreaker for me. And honestly, injury is what kept Cruz from being an even longer reigning champ. But currently, he is the GOAT of that division. Now, let me go over to the featherweight division for men. And this one pretty clear to me, even though Max Holloway and then, people like the current champ, Alexander Volk and Finke, and I know I pronounced that, I apologize, but he's a current featherweight champion and on a impressive win streak, might I add, who I believe those two, are playing second right now for GOAT in the division, because I have Jose Aldo right now as the GOAT. Yes, I know that Conor knocked him out quickly when they fought. And after that, Conor wanted no parts of Aldo in any type of rematch. But it's Aldo. He has the longest win streak and most title defenses in the division history. And he has a case, honestly, to be the GOAT of mixed martial arts in general, period. I mean, even the great Anderson Silva said that he was glad that Aldo wasn't in his division back in the gap. So yeah, Jose Aldo, the best ever in the featherweight division. Let me move on to the lightweight division. And look, the next couple of divisions with this conversation is going to be hard to pick a GOAT, because there are so many great fighters that has currently been fighting. So these next couple of divisions are going to be tough. With that being said, the lightweight division is one of those, and there have been many GOATs here. When you look into that division and the history of the fighters that's been in it, I mean, you have BJ Penn, you have Frankie Edgar, you have Ben Henderson, you have Khabib Nurmagomedov in it. I mean, you could take your pick from any one of these guys, in my opinion. Now, my pick here might be controversial to many in the MMA community, because I know that a lot of people have Khabib Nurmagomedov as the GOAT, but I'm actually going with BJ Penn over Khabib. Now, he doesn't have the longest, win streak in the division, for example. That belongs to Khabib. But BJ losses prior to losing to Frankie Edgar were due to fighting at a higher weight class in welterweight, which, by the way, he was actually a champion of as well. I mean, he is the second person ever in UFC history to win gold in two different weight classes. Of course, we know the first was Randy Couture, which actually speaks to just how much of a world-class fighter BJ Penn was in his day. He is tied with many fighters in the same division with a 3-fight championship win streak, and we will never know if Khabib would have, broken that record since he retired. So because of that, I'm only going to go with what happened, not what might have happened. I mean, BJ was just as well-rounded of a fighter as any one of those guys that I mentioned who fought in the division, and he's my GOAT here. I will say this, though, if you do have Khabib as your GOAT, I won't fight you over it, but I'm going to go with BJ. Let's go over to the welterweight division. So many people have GSP, and I get it considering how dominant he was in the welterweight division once he won the title from another great in the division, actually Matt Hughes, who has a GOAT case to be made for welterweight. And of course, GSP is a 2-division champ also himself. But for me, I have Kamaru Usman as the GOAT of the welterweight division. He doesn't have all the records in the division and, the win streak like GSP has, but he does hold as far as just second longest win streak in UFC history. Just one behind actually the great Anderson Silva. To what I have seen Kamaru put together, he is the most complete fighter that has ever been in mixed martial arts, and that's including John Jones. The thing that makes Usman more complete than John, though, for example, is he can grapple with anyone, but he also has knockout power in his hands where, to be honest with you, John Jones doesn't really have that type of knockout power in his hands. With all that said, look, y'all, I'm trolling. GSP's the GOAT. Boy, I can already see the hate getting ready to come my way in them comments, but I'm joking, y'all. It's GSP. We all know it is. All right, next division, and that's the middleweight division. This one is pretty easy too, and doesn't take much to see it. That currently at this exact moment, Anderson Silva is to go to the middleweight division. He holds every record for this division, and currently, it's getting closer with Israel Adesanya, but right now it's Anderson Silva. He has the most wins in the division, most title defenses, longest win streak, second longest time of any champion holding the belt. He's just right behind Demetrius Johnson. And look, yes, I do know that Izzy just won the belt back, and to me, I think he is clearly the second best middleweight fighter to ever do it, and he does have a shot at being the GOAT of the division. He still has a little ways to go, though, to catch Anderson Silva. He has all the abilities and all of that, so he actually might be able to catch Anderson one day. But right now, I'm giving it to Anderson Silva. Let's go to the light heavyweight division, and look at y'all, I ain't gonna waste no time. There's two words for who to go here, John Jones. Next division, the heavyweight division for men. So this one, in all honesty, if you look at it objectively, it's pretty easy too, even though I know some might not think so. For now, it's Stipe Miocic, since Francis Ngannou never got his contract situation figured out. He has the longest days of holding the belt of anyone ever in a division in Stipe Miocic. And even though he had actually lost the belt twice, he lost once to Daniel Cormier, he lost another time to Francis Ngannou with that devastating looking knockout by Francis. But even with those things, Stipe just has a more impressive resume in the division than anyone has ever had. The only other person who can actually probably lay some claim to being the GOAT of the division, in all honesty, is Cain Velasquez. But yeah, Stipe has the title of GOAT for heavyweights right now for that division. Now, John Jones currently has the belt, and they are scheduled to fight. But even if he loses to John, which he very well might, he's still the GOAT of the division for now, unless or until John goes on and breaks some of the records in the division. And to be honest, he just might do that, and that would make John Jones the second person, other than Amanda Nunes, to be a two-division GOAT. And ladies and gentlemen, that is my list. Let me know what you think in the comments. But until next time, have a good day. Peace.